Hey everyone, welcome back to another tying video here on the channel. Today we're going to be tying the diving, fish-friendly Mahoney Deck Hogan's fly. Everyone knows it. I'm going to be tying it on a shank with some weight at the front and a small size 4 2557 Daiichi uprighting hook. So not going to be snagging bottom, going to be getting down a little bit further with this fly. Kind of a modern variation, so let's get into it. Just long enough to change out the hook. We'll just capture this down. This is a pro tip right here. If you get a little bit of UV resin right at that base and hold it level, the bead that is, lock that in. It'll prevent the bead from tilting up onto the up eye. And it probably wouldn't pull out anyway, but you can just use some like head cement. Schloppen. I like to grab a nice, now this next step's pretty important. So we're actually gonna get our fingers wet and we're gonna work all these fibers back and then forward again. And you're kind of just gonna repeat that. Now, unlike most flies, the way we're going to palmer this up is backwards, so we have the longest fibers sticking off this way. Go ahead and capture that guy down. Now, while we're back here, we're going to trap in our ribbon. I don't know why I can't think of the name of this. Next, some oval tinsel, 4 or 5 inches is fine. Length of the body, right on the bottom. Now, we're going halfway up the fly, actually a little less, maybe a third. Stranded cotton, you use yarn, whatever you got. Something red, and work that back right on the bottom as well. Not going to do a tag or butt or anything like that on this fly with tinsel. Feel free to if you want to. So we're going to wrap up some of this red thread, capture that down, do small wraps because we don't want to build up any misfigurations in the body. We are going to not create a dubbing loop, but we are going to use dubbing. So wax your thread, spinning up a dubbing ball, use a dubbing loop if I'm spinning a body, or not spinning, dubbing a body. Then I'm going to put it right on the thread. I'm just going to take a little bit of red trilobal STS dub, I believe. Just wrap some of that up on your thread and then start building your body. If you run out, just add a little more, spin it on there. Next, we're going to wrap up that flash. Wrapping it up even goes. You just kind of build an eye for that, kind of make it symmetrical. I focus on the space in between, not where I'm actually putting it. So I'm just trying to replicate that first space that I made every time. Do the same thing with your oval tinsel. This is going to be right on the back line, so you want it to act as the edge of the flash. Put that down. Give yourself a little bit of space to work here, 1/8 of an inch. Fibers back one direction. We're going to go ahead and wrap that up right on the edge of the oval tinsel. I wouldn't worry about the way that it's sitting just yet. We can worry about that later. Just wrap it up perfectly, and then we can adjust the way the individual fibers are laying after. And then you're gonna roll your fingers back. So kind of massage it towards the back, and what'll happen is the stem will kind of rotate, face that direction, and all the fibers will be facing towards the back of the fly. Pick out individually some of the trapped dubbing, just to make it a little bit fluffier. Red guinea feather. 3 tight wraps, and I'm going to spin this up, pull it back, capture that down twice. Work all those fibers back, pinch them, and again just capture that down, 3 tight wraps. Now we're going to set some wings on this guy. I'm going to go for some red neck hackles, 4 of those. These are neck hackles, these are a little bit thicker. So for instance, the way that those are going to sit, you're going to line your wings up to be the same length. You both want them curving in towards the center of the fly. If you have a saddle, you take one from the left and the right side, of course. But just like that, you want, so when you put them together, they should be pushing against each other to ultimately stay straight. You don't want one wing tilting off to one side. The way that's going to look is just like that. Tie that in. Actually, I'm going to tie this in quite long. The point of the hook is where I'm going to stop mine. I'm just going to go in. So I've got the length, pluck away some fibers, trim that. Now setting a wing on a fly with a bead or cone on it is a little bit trickier than doing it on a traditional. Still can be done for sure. We're just going to make sure, same principles, hold it really tight in the position you want it. Create that loose 2 wraps. And then hold firm, pull nice and tight, 1 more wrap, and just see the placement of it. Adjust it slightly. I'm really pleased with that placement. I'm going to leave it just like that. So in that case, I'm going to put a little bit of wax on the thread and just lock that down with 1, 2 more nice tight wraps. Perfect. And then we're going to do the same thing, except for on my second go through, I like to take a slightly bigger feather than the last and then place it slightly longer, and I do them one at a time. Same thing when I'm placing these. Little tip, just capture the first two fibers of the feather. It'll hold it in place better. I'm just gonna do 3 tight wraps on this. See where it's sitting. Now you can adjust it slightly. There we go. Now I'm super pleased with that. No more wraps. We're just gonna go to the other side. Again, pick a feather that is curving towards the inside of the fly. Same length as the last one we just tied in. Now you hold super tight with your left hand at this point. Then 2 loose wraps, pull it nice and tight. Don't break your thread, but as tight as you can get it. And we're gonna go and trim all of our tag ends. Now finishing wraps, just where we cut the tag ends, and then we're gonna go in whip finish. Now we're gonna go in with some UV resin. You can be sparing with this, you don't need a ton, just enough to essentially make it look wet. Now we are going to go ahead and cure that. Quick spin first, just so it doesn't droop one direction, then finish it off. There we have it. That is the small hook diving shank Mahoney. Not the official name. Anyways, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Be sure to subscribe for more. I'll see you in the next one. Later.